Adjustable struts and shocks have many features and benefits, the biggest being the flexibility to alter your ride setting. The Outback Armour range utilises a robust metal dial to offer 20 plus valving stages. The result is the ability to fine-tune your ride for accessories, cargo loads and terrain. With any adjustable design, the trick is maintaining the range of movement the dial offers, as they are a moving part exposed to the rigours of the environment. Just in the same way as your winch requires some checks and servicing, we're going to run through a couple of tips for your adjustable struts and shocks. The first section is simple. It is just regularly using the dials. Adjust them up and down to suit your changing load and conditions. Or, if you have dialed in the ride setting you desire and are not adjusting regularly, then do a periodic quick whip around the vehicle, turning the adjuster knob all the way up, then all the way down, then back to your favourite setting. This quick and simple process keeps all the internal parts moving. If you find the click assembly is a bit notchy or won't turn at all, then a more advanced service is needed. First, use a 2mm Allen key to loosen the grub screw securing the top large dial. If you have some movement, working the dial back and forth and using some inox or CRC can offer enough position change to get the grub screw visible to loosen and remove. If the dial has no movement and the grub screw is facing to the inside, then you can get the Allen key into it from the back, it's just a little bit more difficult. Remove the dial and set aside. Use an 8mm open-ended spanner to loosen the nut underneath the small adjuster and wind out completely from the shaft. There is a grub screw underneath the click assembly. If this is moving, it will come out at the same time as the click assembly. If it's not moving, spray some inox or CRC into the shaft and use a 3mm Allen key to remove the grub screw. This will be shown later. Soak the click assembly and the grub screw in a cleaning kerosene type solution. After some time of static soaking and while still in solution, work the click assembly to induce movement and encourage the cleaning solution through the body of the click assembly. Wipe clean and dry with some compressed air if available. If required, threads can be further cleaned with a wire brush. If compressed air is available, direct some down the shaft to circulate and remove any other contaminants. Using some marine grade grease, grease the shaft that is on the bottom of the click assembly, then slide the grub screw onto the shaft and grease the threads of the grub screw and the click assembly. Putting a little bit of grease onto the internal thread of the shaft will also help. Be careful to not use too much, else it will spurt out and make the process more difficult. Now reinsert the click assembly and grub screw back into the shaft. They should wind back in easily. If they won't, don't force it, just unwind and try again. Careful to do the assembly back up by the nut and not the top small dial, else you may wind the grub screw down and bottom it out ahead of the click assembly and they won't be aligned. Once hand tightened, use 8mm spanner to secure. Wipe away any excess grease and refit the top big adjuster dial and tighten its grub screw. Confirm the full range of clicks and reset to your favourite setting. The process for the rear shock is the same as the front with a couple of slight product differences. These being the click assembly is at the bottom of the shock and there is no larger dial to remove first. Use the 8mm spanner, loosen the nut and wind assembly completely out from the shaft. There is a grub screw underneath the click assembly. Some vehicle models also have shims. These need to be replaced into position after cleaning. Again, if the grub screw is not moving, remove with the same process as the front. Soak the click assembly and the grub screw in a cleaning kerosene type solution. Just like the front, work the assembly in the solution to thoroughly clean. Wipe clean and dry with some compressed air if available. If required, the threads can be further cleaned with wire brush. If compressed air is available, direct some into the shaft and circulate and remove any other contaminants. Again, use the marine grade grease, grease the shaft that is on the bottom of the click assembly, then slide the grub screw onto the shaft and grease the threads of the grub screw and the click assembly. Grease the internal thread of the shaft and reinsert the click assembly, grub screw, and any shims if your model required them back into the shaft. They should wind back in easily. If they won't, don't force it. Just unwind and try again. Careful to do the assembly back up by the nut and not the top dial, else you may wind the grub screw down and bottom it out ahead of the click assembly and they won't be aligned. Once hand tightened, use 8mm spanner to secure. Wipe away any excess grease, turn the dial to confirm the full range of clicks, and reset to your favourite setting. This last section shows a front strut removed from the vehicle to complete the same service. Removing from the vehicle makes it easier to remove the top large dial if the grub screw was facing in towards the vehicle. As mentioned earlier, this also shows the process of using the 3mm Allen key to remove the grub screw if it did not wind out with the click assembly. Use the Allen key to gain more leverage and work the grub screw to loosen and then remove. This can be done with the strut fitted in the vehicle as well. Removing the strut also allows the internal adjuster rod to be removed for cleaning. This is for a more complete clean whilst out of the vehicle. Using compressed air down the shaft as shown earlier will remove most potential contaminants. The rest of the process is the same as shown before.